Do you remember that book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, where they say, if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want a glass of milk. If you give a mouse a glass of milk, he's going to want this, and then he's going to want this, and he's going to want this. Well, fans are exactly the same thing when it comes to movies, especially whether it's Marvel or in this case DC, because you tell us this project is starting. Well, we're going to want to know, okay, who's going to be in it? You tell us who's going to be in it. We want to know what character they're going to play. You tell us what character they're going to play, then we might say, well, who's the villain going to be? You tell us who the villain's going to be, then we want to know what a still, show us what a still is or an image from the set. You give us that, then we're going to want a trailer. And when it comes to these huge comic book franchises, they know how to keep us interested. Well, DC did something a couple weeks ago, very unusual, but not as unusual given the circumstances of the times we're living in, called DC Fandome, where they showed off trailers, they showed off stills, they did a whole bunch of stuff when it came to primarily their movies, some of their television, and I think they did some comic books. I admit I didn't watch a lot of the stuff, I just watched what they released. Well, yes, I'm behind on this, but with DC Fandome's second day coming up here, I thought now would be a perfect time to look back primarily at the movie trailers and rank them in how well I thought they were done. Did they get me more excited? Did I not care after seeing it? You know, where they ranked on that level for me. So coming in at number 5, we start with Black Adam. And here's the main reason why. They mislabeled it. When you looked it up online, it said Black Adam teaser trailer. Now, I should have known that they didn't start any filming, and I think I suspected it. But when I see trailer, I'm going to assume that we're going to get to see some moments from the movie, some action, maybe a costume. And we didn't get any of that. All we got was Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam narrating the idea of the plot, plus some other characters that we were going to see. And while I thought that was really cool and definitely got me interested in the movie, and I'm looking forward to it, when you trick me by telling me that it's a trailer and you just give me images instead of actual shots from the film, then I'm going to be more disappointed than happy about it. Coming in at number 4 then, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, I am really excited to see this version of Justice League, like everybody. But I wasn't as drawn into it. I wasn't demanding it like so many people were. I was one of those people, if they make it, great. If they don't, I don't really care. And when we got this trailer, I was expecting to see new shots, tons of things that would give us a hint as to what this version of that movie was going to be like. Shots that we had never seen before. Well, what we got was shots that we'd seen in earlier trailers that never even made it into the movie because they weren't part of Joss Whedon's final vision. Now, we did get some new images, especially the last clip with Flash talking and Batman responding. But it didn't really feel like we were getting anything brand new or anything that's like, oh my gosh, this movie went from a 10 to 100 on my must-see list. I mean, it is clear that it's going to be very different from the theatrical version. And I cannot wait to see it, especially at that 4-hour mark. But it didn't really move the meter for me at all with how excited I got for it. Coming in at number 3 is Wonder Woman 84. Now, I have been looking forward to this movie basically since I got out of Wonder Woman. I was really looking forward to a sequel because I love that first film. And the trailers so far have been okay. They've been interesting. They've given us glimpses. But I didn't really see anything that blew my socks off. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to in this movie is the fact that we're getting Cheetah. Because I don't know a lot of Wonder Woman villains. I'm starting to know more and more because I'm reading more and more. But Cheetah is one of the main ones that I know. So I was really excited to hear she was going to be the villainess in this movie. And I was so hoping that we would get a great shot of her in her full cheetah form in this trailer, which we did. But the CGI, while it looks good, I'm hoping that they polish it off so it looks amazing come the final film. And while we did get to see more plots, we did get to see more shots, some more action, definitely a lot more cheetah. This trailer didn't, again, move my excitement at all. I was just happy we got to see some of Cheetah, even if it was quick. But I'm still going to see this film. It didn't make me feel like, oh my gosh, this movie needs to come out tomorrow. Or it didn't make me feel like, oh, well, you just told me the whole movie. So, it was a good trailer. It was entertaining. But didn't really do a whole lot for me. Coming in at number 2, we have James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Now, right off the bat, you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, why is Black Adam so low on your list? And this is so high when they're kind of the same thing. Well, A, they're not. And B, because it said behind the scenes featurette or featurette, it didn't make me think we were going to get an actual trailer for the movie. And this thing looks awesome. Not only does it look action-packed and just go get them action and some humor that I know is going to be in it, with the cast that we got, the look of the characters, the weird out there characters that they picked from the DC universe, and with James Gunn behind the wheel. I mean, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with this oddball of characters, many of which I'm not familiar with. Of course, I know King Shark, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Amanda Waller, people coming back from the first movie and mainstays in comics. Yes, I know them. But it also looks like the cast is having a terrific time making this movie. Which, if they had a lot of fun, then that means it should come across on the screen. Now, can we just get a trailer? Because I'm really excited to see what this movie looks like. And I will say, it does kind of look like maybe what we should have gotten with the first one. Even though I don't hate the first one, but granted, it's definitely not the best it could be. Which, of course, leads into number 1, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone, because it's at the top of most people's list. And that is the trailer for The Batman. This came out of nowhere. We were not expecting it, and they barely had anything shot. But, oh my gosh, this looks really dark and gritty. This looks like it's darker than what Christopher Nolan did with his movies, in my opinion. And there's certain elements of it that I'm still like, wait, huh? Still trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Some of them don't quite look right, but that's just because of how it's shot and the footage they have. It left us with a lot of questions, but definitely gave us a lot of solid action. I mean, that scene alone where Batman is beating up all the thugs that look like they could be Joker thugs, which maybe that's how the Joker's created. Who knows? Because I don't think we ever got an announcement that there's going to be a Joker. And then just getting glimpses of other characters and the idea that this really does feel like it's going to be a detective film, which to me is what Batman has been. That's one of his key elements, is the detective. So I'm really looking forward to this. I will admit, I was one of those people who wasn't entirely sure about Pattinson playing this character, but I knew he'd been in other things that people said were really good. So I wasn't going to judge it because I hadn't seen those. Spoiler alert though, I have seen Tenet and I'm going to be doing a review. And after seeing some of the stuff he does in that, I'm good with him being Batman. So, looking back, how I would rank the stuff that came out of DC Fandome as far as movies were concerned, at number 5 was Black Adam. At number 4, we had Zack Snyder's The Justice League. At number 3, we had Wonder Woman 84. At number 2, we had The Suicide Squad. And at number 1, we had The Batman. Real quickly, I want to talk about 3 other trailers that came out of DC Fandome that I watched. Starting with CW's The Flash for the next season. Now, this one really actually surprised me because I didn't think they had any footage shot for the next season, or they hadn't started filming again, which did make me wonder, are these scenes that were going to be at the end of last season, were they going to tie up the story in like 3 episodes, I think it was? Or are they taking these episodes and at least making half a season out of it, expanding the story, which I could get behind? I think that'd be kind of cool. So this definitely was interesting to me. I felt like we got to see a little bit more from the show than what we were expecting. But it does raise a lot more questions than it answers for me, especially when it comes to the production of the show. Then we have Suicide Squad versus the Justice League. This trailer was definitely interesting. And I have to say, it's not a terrible trailer, but I don't think it's the trailer that a lot of people were hoping for. And looking back on it, maybe some of the characters' designs aren't great, but I felt like I had an idea about what the story's going to be for the game. There's going to be a lot of humor in it, I think, especially when you play Harley Quinn and in those cutscenes. And it feels like this is going to be Brainiac taking over the Justice League. So they won't exactly be killing the Justice League, unless maybe they're robots. So we didn't really get much from it. We just got basically an idea of where the plot might be going, because you didn't get any gameplay with it either. But I still found it at least interesting. And then you got Gotham Knights. And man, this was a long trailer. And I don't usually get too excited about gameplay or games coming out. I just wait till there's a game that comes out, maybe watch a review about it, or till somebody tells me if it's good. And then maybe I'll get it, or I'll just wait for a holiday and ask for that game. But Gotham Knights looked really interesting, especially the characters that you could play as. I mean, we've all played as a Robin at some point, but the fact that it's Damian you get to play as is pretty neat. You have Nightwing in there, you've got Batgirl, and you've got Red Hood. Red Hood is the one that I'm really interested in, and the one that surprised me. Because, yes, he's part of the Bat family, but he's not a character that we've really seen in the games, given one exception primarily. And if you could get his skins for a character, which I don't know if you could. But the fact that we're not focusing on Batman, and that we're focusing on other members of the Bat family taking over where he's left off, since he apparently has died, just seems like an interesting story, not knowing what could happen. Though some people are speculating maybe Batman is the villain of this game, which could be interesting. It's happened before. So this is a game that I am definitely interested in checking out, more so than Suicide Squad versus the Justice League. I'm sorry, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So overall, I thought this first day of DC Fandome gave us a lot of really good things, a lot of interesting things. Things we were expecting, definitely a lot of things we weren't expecting. We got some really good looks at things. We got some really good ideas about what's coming up. Some things might not have been handled as well as I hoped they were. But overall, for a fan of DC, or just a fan of comic books and these characters in general, this was a good experience and a lot of good stuff. Let's see if they can keep the ball rolling with the second day. So, until they show us stuff at the next event, read what you love, enjoy what you love. Let's all work for a better fandom. Comment down below, tell me what you liked. I'll see you next time.